Hi everyone, it's the Geeky Fox, and I just wanted to wish you a happy new year. 2025 is finally in full swing. I hope that all of you had a fantastic break and that you're raring to go for the new year. I wish you all the best of health and prosperity. I know that many of us are on a chronic pain, chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia journey. But I guess, this time of year is a good time to look back on the past 12 months, to reflect on what has worked and what hasn't for you, and to come up with a new sort of plan, in order to move forward and to look at things in a different way possibly. So what I wanted to discuss today, when I was early on in my fibro and chronic pain journey, it's often a very confusing time. It was for me anyway, and I know that a lot of you out there that are quite new to fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue specifically get very confused and very overwhelmed with all the information that you find online. You are sort of pulled in different directions. People are suggesting to try so many different things, whether it's diets, whether it's alternative healing modalities. And not to say that anything that you have come across is good or bad or beneficial or not, but it can get overwhelming when you are faced with medical professionals that are telling you that you're pretty much, nothing's wrong with you. So you're kind of left to your own devices. And that's when, you can come across information that may not apply to you, and it just gets really, really confusing. And I think that, the 5 books that I will discuss today are 5 books that anybody could benefit from reading, and especially after the co and the vid that just kind of happened the last last 3-4 years. What happened with that? I think that everyone is, the veil is starting to be lifted, and a lot of people are becoming very, very aware of what's going on in this world. And more importantly, who is in charge of the food that we are eating, which organizations are attached to the food that's been mass produced for us, and a whole lot of other aspects to this conversation that are, the conversation is starting to change in many different aspects of the food industry. So I'm just going to get straight into it, and I've kind of written some notes on the back of each book, only because some of these books I read quite some time ago, and I want to do the book justice and and give credit where credit's due as far as the author and their background and their experience. So I will be reading from some notes on the back of each book. But the first one that I've got here is The Red Pill Revolution, and that was updated for co, and then the vid word started in 2019. Can you believe it? Started in 2019. Unbelievable. Now, the main author of this book is Jeremy Ayres. Now, Jeremy Ayres, and there's also another 4 co-authors on this book, but the main one is Jeremy Ayres. Now, I should give credit to the other 4. You've got Phil Escott, John Gusty, Ben Hunt, and Graeme Norbury, Norbury. I think all of them are from the UK by memory. Now, I came across Jeremy Ayres, through other sort of social media presenters. And he is a very strong advocate of the carnivore diet. And back when I was starting my journey with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, I had a really strong pull to look into the carnivore diet, and he's one of the first people that I came across, and one of the first person that I actually listened to on YouTube and other sort of social media platforms, and one of the main representatives of the carnivore diet that really convinced me to give it a shot. And I'm so glad that I did. So Jeremy Ayres also has a platform online called Naturally Better, and it is a platform, and you can become a member if you want to, and there's obviously a monthly charge, but it's almost like an online community where you can sign up. You are charged a monthly fee, and they discuss the carnivore diets, and you have a whole community which you can engage with and discuss a carnivore diet, your experiences with the carnivore diet, what the, you know, problems sort of as you, you know, people that have started the carnivore diet, what issues they have come up with, you know, all sorts of conversations around that sort of diet. And I was a member on his platform for about 6 or 7 months, and I got to the point where I was really confident in how I should approach the carnivore diet, because I was at that stage. I had been on a carnivore diet for about 4 or 5 months, so I was really confident with my sort of own rendition, if you will, of the carnivore diet, what I did well with, what I didn't, you know, and I really got the carnivore diet down pat. So I kind of, I pulled away from being a member on the platform, but I do recommend being on that platform for as long as you need to if you are interested in the carnivore diet. It's just a really good introductory platform, and there are so many you know, natural medicine professionals on that platform that can help you along your way, and do help a very, very large community. I don't know how large it is at the moment, but even back then it was quite in the thousands. So I'm sure that if I had a look on the website now, there would be many, many more people, because there's a large percentage of the population that is starting to understand more and more about what we should be eating, and there's a lot of people trying out this diet. And I don't think that carnivore diet is a fad. I don't think it's going anywhere. And as I've discussed in many other videos previously, you know, I don't think people become carnivores because they're trying to jump on the next fad. I think that people get to a place where they're very desperate. They have tried so many other things and nothing has worked, and they finally give the carnivore diet a chance because they're in a very acute situation. And that's where I was, and that's why I gave the carnivore diet a chance. And it came out that it was very beneficial for me. So I'll just switch over now because my other arm's getting tired. So let's have a look here. I'll just there's some important information that I want to talk about. So Jeremy Ayres has been practicing natural medicine for 30 years, and he talks about the illusion in this book. So how we became to be owned, the system that perpetuates distraction, division, dependency, and living in permanent disease. So although he's an advocate of the carnivore diet, he talks about, you know, the world in general. You know, for example, a lot of people are starting to discuss the food pyramid and the organizations that are actually attached to the food pyramid, and who is actually making the money out of all of this, all this kind of system. And he, as I said before, he's the founder of Naturally Better. And yeah, I've discussed the sort of membership part of his online presence. So that's the first one. I think that that's a really good book to start off with. If you are just kind of opening the door on, you know, becoming a little bit more aware of what's going on with our food industry, and more broadly what's happening in the world. And I think that this is a great book to start with. So that's number one. No, I'll put this down. So the second book that I would talk about, and my notes are written here, so excuse my, I'll be looking back and forth. So this is not a new book that I'm discussing. I have read this book cover to cover once, and I have referred to this book many, many times along my journey. Now, I came across this guy, Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, MD. So just to give you a snapshot, so he's one of the most frequently quoted integrative medical authorities in America and now across the world. So he's got an international presence, and he has for some time. So he's actually, you will kind of, if you read this book, you'll realize that he's not just an outsider that you know, has some a broad medical experience and broad medical background, and has just decided to kind of, you know, specialize in fibromyalgia. This guy has been through fibromyalgia and quite a nasty bout of it, and he has, you know, he's experienced what we all have experienced. So that's, I think that, you know, those kinds of people that have experienced similar things throughout their life are the ones that we really should be listening to. You know, it's I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to medical professionals that haven't gone through the same thing, but there's a different level of understanding, you know, coming across people that have actually experienced the same thing that you have. And that, you know, that's actually with a lot of these books, the people that are the authors of these books are actually people that have gone through similar experiences to you and me. So that's what drew me to these books as well. So he experienced fibromyalgia himself in his youth, as I mentioned before. He's a lead author in multiple studies on effective treatments for fibro and chronic fatigue. And this book provides a clearly organized, easy to read, it provides clearly organized, easy to read information, as well as recommendations on protocols and treatments. And I will say one other thing about this book. If you are in a bit of a financial pinch and you are at the stage where fibro and chronic fatigue has depleted you of funds, as many of us, including myself at one stage, have experienced, this is a really good book. If you cannot afford to have a one-on-one relationship with an alternative health professional or a functional medical professional, this is a really good book that will kind of take you through a journey. There's a very, very detailed questionnaire on his website as well, which will allow you to kind of pinpoint how you possibly got your fibromyalgia. You know, it even kind of distinguishes and makes it very clear what fibromyalgia is and what it isn't, and what else you could be dealing with as opposed to that, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but anyway, let's move on. So this is definitely book number 2 and worth a read, especially if you're experiencing this word, fatigued. Tremendous book. So that's the second one. Now, the third one, which has an equal amount of weight, I believe, is Toxic Superfoods by Sally K. Norton. So who is Sally K. Norton? She has a nutrition degree from Cornell University and a master's in public health. She has worked in medical education, public health research, and overall holistic healing. So and the reason why this is book number 3 that I'm discussing is because I kind of came across this sort of content and this sort of subject matter sort of mid to 3/4 of the way throughout my journey. Now when I look back on my 15 years worth of experience with fibromyalgia, I think I came across this kind of like sort of year 11 to 12. So I did not have a clue about oxalates in general. I didn't know what they were. But as you do, when you do have fibromyalgia and chronic pain and chronic fatigue, you are forever on social media. You are forever traipsing through information on YouTube, for example. And I started watching, there's a YouTuber that's really fantastic. He's a younger guy from the UK. I might add his link to the bottom of the description box below, but he's fantastic. But I think that I've commented on one of his excerpts from a video in one of my shorts, so I don't know, maybe you can look for that, but I'll find his name and I'll put it in the description box. It slipped my mind right now. But I came across him when I first was introduced to oxalates. So what are oxalates? Oxalates are the defensive mechanism that plants have, basically a plant's protective mechanism. So that's for survival. So and these oxalates, if you look at them, if you look at a plant under a microscope, you will find that the oxalate part of a plant looks like millions and millions of shards of crystal. Now, what happens is that, especially when you are living in highly densely populated cities such as Sydney or London or whatever else, you have continuous access to all sorts of fruits and vegetables all throughout the year. And we have forgotten how to eat seasonally. And there are certain times of the year where your body can actually process and digest, for example, a higher level of oxalates very easily. But if we are consuming high oxalate, foods with a high oxalate composition all throughout the year, you can just imagine what that does to your body. So these little shards of, microscopic crystals, what happens, I've got notes here and I will refer to them because I can't remember everything, guys. We do have brain fog as well, so bear with me. So the symptoms that you normally relate If you think that you may have oxalate overconsumption, these are some of the symptoms that you may be experiencing. So you've got severe back pain, blood in your urine, feeling like you need to pee often, chills or fever, joint, muscle, intestinal or eye pain, mood conditions, anxiety and sleep problems, just to name a few. So what happens with these, I still haven't really explained, I haven't really explained what oxalates can actually do in a high dosage. They embed themselves, these little shards of oxalate crystals can embed themselves in your lymph nodes, they can embed themselves in your joints, in your muscles, in your tissue, in your brain. And when I started kind of, reading all these types of symptoms, I thought, and this is one of the main culprits. Spinach has a very, very extremely high composition of oxalates, and and also celery as well. And it's funny because these are the types of things that the food industry pushes, right? Everybody was, going through a craze where, they wanted to be on a celery cleanse for like 3 months. And spinach was like very, very heavily promoted, always has been really. And you start to kind of think, why are we sort of encouraged to eat, a huge amount of certain fruits and vegetables? Why are we not eating seasonally? You go to Greece and you go to Europe, you will not eat a fucking tomato in the middle of winter. You will only consume tomatoes in summer, and that's the right way to do it. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason why God, made these things the way that He made them. I know that, for example, tomatoes gives you some protection against the sun, and it kind of makes sense that you eat tomatoes during the summer. So there's a reason why you should be eating certain foods at specific times of the year. And for example, even oranges. I know that you can go to Coles and you can buy sort of navel oranges, or I don't know what the other ones are called. You can buy oranges all throughout the year, but should we really be eating oranges? In summer, it's traditionally more of a winter kind of fruit. So this book will really open your eyes up to even this sort of subject matter, this kind of information. And even when you are detoxing from a high oxalate diet, you will experience, detoxification symptoms. And a lot of people with chronic fatigue and chronic pain do have very, very unusual traveling pain. And, this might be a part of your problem. So I just wanted to get you a little bit more aware of what else might be possible. Again, we're using that phrase, what else is possible? What else am I not seeing? So definitely, this is the third book, and definitely one to read, especially if you are experiencing some of the symptoms that sound like what I've just listed. Okay, so that's the third one. Now, the fourth one that I came across also a lot later in my journey was a book by Philip Ovadia, MD, and it's called Stay Off My Operating Table. Now, this guy is fantastic. He does have a very strong social media presence. All of these guys do. So you can find them on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. And, I'm on a newsletter subscription with Philip Ovadia, and I get information kind of every week. So he pumps out information very, very regularly. And I think that even if you are not inclined to, take on all of the information that he, all the information that he discusses, I think it's really good to just get some information now and then. And if you're called to kind of read it and there's something in there that kind of attracts you, or you feel like his information could benefit you in some way, no harm in being subscribed to a newsletter. So look up his website. Now, just to give you some facts about him, he's a board certified cardiac surgeon and the founder of Ovadia Heart Health. And the main things that he talks about is he's a bit of a myth buster as well. Like he's had countless hours with people on operating tables, and he's a heart surgeon, so he has experienced firsthand the effects of different types of diets throughout his career. And there's like 12 myths that he really kind of digs deep and gets involved with and discusses. But some of the stronger ones, or some of the ones that I'm more sort of interested in, busting myths around the food pyramid. We've already discussed that from the other books. You know, there's who's in charge of this food pyramid, who's promoting it, which are the organizations behind the food pyramid that are funding the advertising of all of these foods related to the food pyramid. Just start thinking. You know, most of it is common sense, but we've stopped using it. You know, another myth that he kind of speaks about is low carb diets are bad for your heart. Are they? He's a strong advocate, mind you, of the carnivore diet as well. As you can see, there's a lot of protein on his front cover here, and some, I think, olive oil. But he's and garlic. Garlic's good for everyone. But a really strong advocate of the carnivore diet, and also, you know, keto diets. And what other things that he really kind of pushes? The food pyramid, yes, we talked about that. And another really interesting sort of conversation that a lot of people are having at the moment is, you know, busting the myths around whether high cholesterol causes heart disease. And I want to do a whole nother video on cholesterol, because I do, you know, have my dad's got high cholesterol, and he's been taking cholesterol medication since he was, you know, in his early 40s, and I feel my gut is saying that has deteriorated his brain functionality, and you know. Is high cholesterol really that bad for you? So there's so many things. I don't know enough about that sort of conversation to make any comments at this stage, but I am looking into it because, you know, Greeks tend to have a lot of people, you know, that a high percentage of people that do have high cholesterol. So I'm going to start looking into that. And for some people, it's a little bit too late. You know, there are people that have been taking cholesterol medication for 30, 40, 50 years. And, you know, there's a higher rate of Alzheimer's and dementia. Why? You know, why are things that did not exist or were very low, you know, 30, 40, 50 years ago, why is it so prevalent in our everyday society? You know, why are so many people getting it now? It just doesn't make sense. Connect the dots, people, connect the dots. What else? And the people, yeah, and he also discusses, you know, are people that produce our food, do they want us to really be healthy? It really starts you thinking about, you know, things a lot more broadly. So that's another one. And also, I'm running out of steam, guys, because I'm experiencing a little bit of brain fog, but I am really excited about these books. So I wanted to get this video out. Whew, I just need to take a breather. Now, generally speaking, Philip Ovadia is also an advocate and promotes the importance of metabolic health above all, you know. And, you know, I know people within my family that, you know, are on sort of cholesterol medication and have been for a very, very long time. And they are on other sort of medications related to other health symptoms and, you know, conditions. But their metabolic health is terrible. So again, that cholesterol conversation, I really want to sort of dig deeper into that, but I don't know enough about it to have my own opinion or give my own advice at this stage. And there is a disclaimer at the bottom of a description box of every YouTube video that I post. I'm not a medical professional. I make videos based on my experience. And I like just opening up that conversation. No advice or nothing I say in any of these videos replaces medical advice. So if you do have any sort of serious medical issues, please visit your GP and you know, proceed through that process first. So that's the fourth book. Now, the last book that I will talk about, this is the last one that I purchased. So this one's called The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, and it's from Nicole Apelian, PhD, and Claude Davis. Now, this was going viral for so many months that I eventually just caved in and I bought it. And I'm really glad I did. You know, it's not a book that I have read cover to cover. But what it is almost like a directory of botanical herbs that And what it has, I'll just go through it and just give you an example. So say we are, I don't know, I'll look up fatigue now because that's something that I've experienced in the past. So if you have an ailment or a condition, or even the C word, C-A-N, whatever, which is also a zodiac sign. I don't like to even say that word, but it even covers that word. But say, for example, I'm looking up fatigue. So you go to the glossary at the back of the book, right? And you just find the condition or the symptom that you want to sort of look into, and it'll give you a sort of some pages to look at as far as a botanical herb that can help you remedy this symptom or this condition. So the first page that's listed here is page 47. So let's just go have a look at that, just so I can give you an example of the layout of this book. Okay, page 47. And what do we have here? Ashwagandha. And it does say here that it helps you with adrenal fatigue. It combats stress, your fight or flight. It kind of alleviates that fight or flight that we get when we do have fibromyalgia specifically. A lot of people are stuck in fight or flight because they have gone through a traumatic event, a significant life event, that sort of thing. And quite often, if you don't manage the situation, you can be in a long-term fight or flight state, which is really, really uncomfortable, and also raises your cortisol level. So that's a very, very prominent reason why people get fibromyalgia. But I won't go into that. We'll stick to this book. So alleviates fight or flight, anxiety and depression, reduces cortisol levels, and balances blood glucose levels. So what you'll find, so now that I've gone to this page, they're kind of talking about ashwagandha, and they'll kind of list all the things that ashwagandha can help you with. And obviously it's very evident here that ashwagandha would be very, very good if you are experiencing fatigue, for example. And just with fatigue alone, there's like 10 or 15 pages. So it's a really interesting book to read, and it could be like a little directory. So if you are experiencing something specific, you can go to the back and then you start, it helps you understand the benefits that you can get from botanical herbs as well. So that's the last one. Wow, I got through that. Now, I was going to talk about another book, but I will leave that for another video because it's not a facts-based book. It's more of a I'll completely leave it for another video. But I really hope that this year, I hope that these book titles have really enticed you, and you at least kind of pick up one of them and start reading, just to kind of broaden your mind as to what else could possibly be making you feel this way. But I encourage anyone that is experiencing the symptoms that I discuss in these videos, or if you are just interested in the food industry, in what's going on in this world, these books will really, really open your mind, and they're a good read. Most of them are easy reads as well, especially with Fatigue to Fantastic from Dr. Teitelbaum. I know that any of us that are experiencing chronic fatigue, chronic pain and fibromyalgia, our concentration levels, trough and sort of, yeah, I'm running out of steam now. I need a break after this. Our energy levels fluctuate. That's the right word. And I've dropped my little speaker here. Our energy levels fluctuate. And he has made it really easy to follow this book. So after every chapter, he's got like a little summary of what is discussed within that chapter. So yeah, a lot of these books are, they're very easy to read, and they just make sense. So I encourage anyone out there, anyone that's looking for something, an interesting read, or just around these types of topics, get any. I'll provide links at the bottom of this video as far as where you could get these, whether it's Amazon or whatever. I will leave this here for now. I wish you the best this year, and I'm really excited to get more content out for you. There's so many things that I want to discuss. I'm busting at the seams with information, as you can see. I'm kind of raring to go, and I'm really glad that 2024 has been and gone, and I feel almost I've got a surge of energy just to kind of get involved with a lot more things this year. So again, I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.